Good evening, everyone. Just getting my screen here set up so I can share. Again, I'm going to try to keep most everything on the main screen here so I can see you. Make it look like I'm actually talking to you directly. So yeah, this is, counting from starting at week of April 15th or so. This is week 5 of the fall soccer season. It's the Sunday after our first week, first Saturday, full Saturday of games. We're gonna, as usual, go over our typical agenda, discuss a little bit about practices for this week. If we get some people calling in, we can discuss some feedback on the games, and then some general topics. And I didn't really receive any questions this week. So if you do have questions as you're going through things, probably can discuss a couple of things around equipment and other things at that time as well. So we'll hop into things, get things rolling, and see how long this meeting goes, and see if people can sign in while I'm going through it. So just as a reminder, there are free and paid courses from US Soccer. Definitely recommend them. They're available online. The in-person ones are always great if you're able to attend. And this week, in discussing practices, I wanted to focus on the Eastern Pennsylvania Youth Soccer Association training plans. So if you go and visit our playwra.com website, and from the welcome page, you go under intramural, go to soccer, and then go to fall intramural soccer. And you can scroll down to the coaching resource section. I am working to get this updated with the latest soccer manual. It says last year's manual, we added some revisions, a couple of changes that the commissioners wanted, and a couple of clarifications. And I did share out that link in my emails recently to the coaches and to the rest of the IM soccer committee, or not committee, community. So everybody does have access to that soccer manual. And like I said, I'll make sure it gets updated here as well. It has been updated on our old website because that one I have direct access to. So if you really wanted to get in there, that's WRAsports.org. It's not going to give me the article. Hang on one second. Let me pull up the direct link on my other browser window. This will take me right here. And then if you click on that, it'll actually download it. You can open it. And this has updated as of the 5th of September. And so you can see it from the original old WRA website. And like I said, I will get this updated. But really what I wanted to go over today was the Eastern PA Youth Soccer Training Plan. So when you click on that link, it takes you to their training plans webpage. I've downloaded these. They're available in PDF and online reader version. And so what those look like, I pulled up the U10 training plan. It's actually really nice. It kind of gives you a full set of plans for the year. One of the things I really like is, for a player of your age group, so this would be our 3rd and 4th grade players, what are they looking to be able to do? Dribbling moves under pressure, role of first and second defenders. These are all things that we should be working with our kids on throughout the course of the season. It's not going to happen all in one week, but it gives you some topics to cover, and that's available at the U6, which would be our, younger age groups, our U8, which would be our 1st and 2nd grade group, U10, which is our 3rd and 4th grade, and then our U12. And then there's U14 plans and U16 plans as well. So another one of the things that's nice in here is it gives you the US Soccer player numbers for the field. So, it's got all the player numbers. So when you ever hear about a commentator talking about a 6, they're talking about a defensive center midfield. An 8 would be a box-to-box center midfielder. The 7 and 11 are the left and right, right and left forwards. 9 and 10 are also commons. You don't typically hear them refer to the defenders by numbers, but occasionally they do. And if you're building up your formations, I highly recommend you stick to using these numbers when you lay them out to show your teams. All right. Then there's a little bit about goals and objectives, about training kids, reason kids drop out of sports, reason kids like to play sports, and then especially as they get older, these reasons that change. It's they're there to have fun. That's not always number one, but as they get older, they do understand competition and they do want to compete. So, especially at the U12, the U15 to U19 divisions, we encourage that in competition. And it's a balancing act, coaches, we need to balance the need, to encourage competition with the preference or with the need to have fun. Let's not lose sight of what's important here. These are kids that are getting out, learning how to play the game and have fun with their friends for the most part. So I like these training plans. It's not the latest version of the U.S. soccer recommendations. It's the previous version, which is a warm up, a set training idea, then an expanded training idea, and then finishes with a scrimmage. So here they have a technical warm up for U10 players working on free dribbling. Gives you your coaching points that you're trying to get the kids to learn about. Then you have a small sided activity where you're reinforcing what you did in the warm up with a small sided activity. It's usually a lower intensity or a less challenge. There's a little bit less challenge in the first small sided activity, and then the expanded small sided activity is a much more game-like situation for the kids to be in, and then you finish with an actual game. And all of these follow this standard approach where you have a warm-up, you have a relatively low challenge first activity, and then a more challenging second activity, and followed by a game. And one of the things you'll realize as you get along, as you go through the coaching, is the kids always want to scrimmage. They want to shoot the ball and they want to scrimmage. So U.S. Soccer actually changed their approach now, where they do a play, practice, play. So they actually start with small-sided, relatively free-form game. Then they have a couple of coaching sessions in the middle, and then they finish with a scrimmage where you really concentrate on reiterating what your coaching points were in the middle point. This is slightly different in that it kind of it builds up a certain coaching point throughout the session, and then finishes in a game where you really concentrate on them. But they're really nice plans. They do give you a lot of really good coaching points. And in particular, I really like the opening parts of this about what you can expect a U10 or whatever age group player to be learning, and these numbering situations. So I do hope you recognize them and use those. The other nice feature in the Eastern Pennsylvania is they have a link to their YouTube page, which when you click on it, it brings you to this quick tips playlist, and it's got some general coaching videos, which are great, and then it actually breaks down how to train 4 to 5 year olds, 6 and 7 year olds. So this would be first and second grade, and how to do a bunch of others. So there's some really good information there in video format. Talking real quick about videos, I have started building. Let me do this. Pardon me. I have 2 accounts here that I'm using, and let me do this. Just bear with me. Now my personal Chrome account instead of the WRA Intramural Soccer Chrome account. So when I go in here I'm showing you from my personal account. When I go in here and I view WRA IM Soccer's account, and I can go in here and see the playlists. I started assembling playlists. A lot of them are based on Mojo's videos, which I think are really good. But I've also started a ball mastery skills playlist. You know, I'm keeping all of the coaches meetings on one playlist that I share out each week. So, you know, there are some useful playlists in here if you are looking for developing skills. This one in particular, I really, you know, it kind of uses the Mojo videos on dribbling, but I actually managed to find videos. You know, I used the Mojo videos for 4 of the turns. I consider 6 basic turns, and this inside chop is what I refer to as an inside turn. Outside chop, outside turn is what I call it. Pullback, and then step over, Cruyff, and Maradona are kind of all kind of like expanded versions of these 3 basics. So I consider these the 6 basic turns in soccer. So, you know, this kind of gives you a nice overview of all of that. And then these ball mastery skills ones in particular, I was looking at Cover's Free Footy Friday. There's like 12 videos in the series. I just grabbed the first 4 in this, and you know, I am building this out. So if you want to send videos to your team for them to practice foot skills at home, this is an option. So 2 places that you can find some good video information, one being the EPYSA videos, and the other one being the video playlists from WRA IM Soccer. All right. So that's a bit about Eastern Pennsylvania training plans and you know, what you could be trying to cover this week. So games, now that we've gotten through our first game season, our first week of games, on the whole, it seemed like people were having a good time at the fields. I definitely want to make sure you guys, there are field layout links in all of the emails. Make sure your families are aware of that. You know, some people were having issue finding fields, and that's fair, because it's not totally laid out the way I wanted it to, because we needed to set up field numbers before we actually finalized the field layout. So, you know, the first grade girls are over by, you know, their fields 1 and 2, which, you know, are right over there by the parking lot, which is great. And then fields 3 and 4 are the second grade boys, and they're on the lower plateau. You know, 5 and 6 are second grade girls, and they're way over by Prophecy Creek. So we had a lot of people parking at the school and realizing they had to walk all the way over to there. And then there were people that were really nice and parked at Prophecy Creek, and then found out, oh, the first grade girls are way over by the parking lot. So now that everybody kind of has a better idea of where their fields are each week, and they're not going to change, you know, definitely encourage them to remember that, use those field layouts when they're telling grandma and grandpa where to go to watch the games, and more importantly, where to park. So by putting the first grade boys and the second grade boys and girls down on the lower plateau, I really encourage those families to park at Prophecy Creek. That'll leave the parking lot by school for first grade girls, for 3rd and 4th grade boys and girls that are playing 7v7. You know, so that's about it. If you have any other feedback on the first games, any questions or comments, please share them. I did get, you know, I did get one comment. I'll share it with you guys next week after I've had a chance to digest it a little bit, from a family. But yeah, I'm definitely interested. And as always, you know, in games, try to encourage the kids to try things. You know, try to say, you know, encourage them not to be afraid of failing. That's going to happen. But if you succeed, you know, if they get to a point where they're not afraid of failing and they try things, you know, they're taking on, you know, the attacking point in particular I wanted to cover this week is one-on-one play. We really want to encourage kids at all age groups, but especially in the youngest age groups, when you have a chance and you're in a good position on the field, meaning that you're not the last defender, take on a kid. Try to encourage them and work with them to know when to do a step over or a Cruyff or an inside turn and an outside turn. You know, anytime they can get a defender going sideways, they're 60% to beating them. If they get them moving sideways and they're staying right with them, then that's a time to pull, to pull a quick turn and cut against that defender's momentum and go into the open space around them. If as the defender's following, they're trailing behind, then they know they can accelerate around and try to beat them. There's options. Once you know where the defender is and how they're reacting to your movement, you can use that to beat them. So encourage the one-on-one play as whenever possible. And then the other thing I was seeing a lot, especially where I was watching a lot of the first grade boys and second grade kids playing on the lower plateau, is encourage the kids to be a little more patient on defense. There's a lot of running up and just whacking away at the ball instead of pressuring the ball and waiting for the attacker to make a mistake. And by pressuring the ball, it means getting between the ball and your goal with a bit of space, but close enough that if the attacker makes too heavy of a touch, you can get your body and both feet between the attacker and the ball, take control of the ball, and play it to a teammate. And then definitely want to start talking about the phases of the game with the kids, especially when you're talking with your forwards and you're talking about transition to the attack. So whenever a forward sees a defender win the ball, they should be looking for where's the open space in the defense that they're facing, and to start making runs at that open space, so that once the defender wins the ball, if they can get their head up, make a pass or pass it to a midfielder, the midfielder will know that the forward is already making a run for that open space. So a couple of defending points there: be patient on defense, try to win the ball back. One of the things I always tell my kids, I start with, how do you win a game of soccer? You score more goals. How do you win? How do you score goals? You got to get the ball. So what is the point of defense? And they're always saying, stop the other team from scoring, to keep the ball out of the net. That's not wrong. But the real point of defense is to win the ball back for your team, because you can't score without the ball. And that's the point of the game, is to score more goals. So that's how I always relate it. And by being patient on defense, letting the attackers make a mistake, you can win the ball back more consistently. And then if your attackers and your midfielders and forwards are already making breaks into the open space, when the defender's winning the ball, the defender's going to be able to get the ball to a teammate who's going to be able to possess the ball better. Please let me know if that makes sense. Please, give me some feedback on that. See if that, definitely want to keep the kids growing in that idea of possession play. General topics, coaches' bags and shirts. I think at this point I've handed out all of the coaches' bags to all of the teams that need them. And the shirts, we've given out most of the shirts. So I'm not planning on doing that anymore this season. If you need shirts, please let me know. If you need coach gear, please let me know. We can arrange a time to meet at the Wentz Run Shed. I do not keep gear at my house. And so, we'd have to meet up at the shed at some point during the week. I am coaching most every day of the week. So, it's going to be time. It might be that, you let me know what you need and I bring it with me to Shady Grove when I'm over there, or wherever it is I'm coaching. And then you guys have to come and find me. But yeah, let me know. And again, part of the problem is I don't have an equipment director for this year. So if, my second bulletin point here is about volunteerism, we need help. We need a lot of help. And I know that you guys are, the coaches here are already volunteering, to be coaches, but I do need help. Equipment at this stage is pretty much done for the season. We've handed out, like I said, the coaches' bags. So at the end of the season, we will need to collect all of the coaches' bags. But most importantly, throughout the season, I need help with field setup and cleanup. That I get out there every Saturday to make sure that the fields are safe to play on. I'm there at 7 a.m, putting up field signs, putting goals in proper places. As an aside, if you do, as a coach, need to move things around on the field, please, please, please make sure you move things back when you are done. the entire program is run by volunteers. Nobody in WRA gets paid to do what we do, and we do spend a lot of time doing it. If you don't move things back, or the nets get messed up and nobody fixes them during the week, it's either myself or Chris Donnelly or a couple of small group of volunteers that are going around putting all the nets up properly for Saturday mornings. We need help doing that. If you can make sure that when you leave practice, that your field is in good shape as you can, that helps a lot. If you can step up and help on a Saturday morning to help set up the fields, that would go a long way. If you can help clean up at the end of the day, that also goes a long way. I will be sharing an email out later on. Chris Donnelly went over to the fields today, and he collected a full bag of trash that people left behind. He collected a full wagon of soccer balls, and he collected a ton of water bottles. People just continue to leave things behind. Please, after your games on Saturdays, remind your families, we do not have paid people to come and clean up the trash afterwards. We need to be good tenants of the field, or the school will stop letting us have the fields. So to all that said, I do need volunteers. If you're available to help, please email me. We need help with the field setup and cleanup. I'm also looking for more commissioners. We've had commissioners in different levels for a couple of years, and some of them are looking to move on to other volunteer opportunities. I'm going to need more commissioners. At the start of the season, I didn't have a preschool commissioner. I didn't have a commissioner for the U15s or the U19s. So the preschool I've been running. The 15 and 19s, I've been lucky enough to have Dana and Sean Roran running those divisions. That's a lot of work. I need people to help with that. And then last thing I wanted to bring up with regards to jerseys is distributing. I know we didn't have jerseys for all of the divisions on opening day. One of the toughest problems that commissioners face is that we need to order our jerseys at the end of July in order to have them here for the first day. Some of the divisions weren't ready for that. We weren't ready to order them. We also ran in, especially for the girls' V-necks shirts, there were just supply issues. They didn't have inventory of the right size V-neck jerseys. Now, that said, the latest update from our supplier is that we should have all of the divisions in for next week, and Jackie is doing a Trojan's work of sorting through all of the jerseys as they come in. She's been a great addition to the team this year, and has really done a lot to make sure that we get exactly what we want in the way of jerseys, and that they all look great. They all have the WRA logo on the one sleeve, and the Do Better for Steve logo on the other sleeve. If you're not familiar with Do Better for Steve, definitely look that group up. They do so much good work in the area, and I'm definitely going to be looking to but highlight some of the stuff that they do and some of the ways that we can help. But we are looking for help with distributing jerseys and making sure that all that get out there. So field work, equipment work, jersey help, commissioners. We're lucky enough to work with the travel soccer group on our Spirit store. But if you have any other ideas that you might think would help improve IM Soccer, please let me know. And if you're willing to step up and help do those things, that's even better. Personally, my next year is my last year as the chairperson. I may or may not volunteer to continue this. But I would really love to keep going, especially with the coach training and coach education and the intramural soccer skills training, which is something that I started a couple of years back, but really haven't been able to do for that this year and last year. I want to get back to doing that. So, I'm definitely looking for more help. Anything you can do would be appreciated. As I said, I didn't really get any questions this week. So if you do have any, and I don't see anybody on the call tonight. So if you can try to attend this meeting, it's always more interesting if there's people on the call to actually share some feedback on their own, and ask questions in person. Everybody likes to hear somebody besides me talk for 20 minutes to half an hour. But definitely send in your emails either way, and I will read them and answer them here. All right, so we are at 9:25, and I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover for this week. I hope these meetings are useful to you. I hope you guys are having a great time running practices and training for the girls and boys. And if there's anything else you can use from me, please reach out. Intramural Soccer at wrasports.org or sports@pjlaub.com. Either of those emails accounts will get to me, and I'll be glad to help however I can. So thank you, everybody. I will get this meeting uploaded as soon as I can, and we will talk again next week. Bye now.